Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 17, I think we're up to, of Refresh TV, brought to you, of course, of the Renovation and Outdoor Living show here on Refresh TV, brought to you by Refresh Renovations and Zones Landscaping. Welcome, July the 2nd, 2020. Happy birthday, Queen, for yesterday. Thanks for the holiday when I did my normal Queen's birthday ritual. Identify a DIY job that needs to be done. Go to Mitre 10, buy loads of stuff I need, go home, realize I got the wrong stuff, go back, forget the stuff I needed to return, buy more stuff, go home, watch YouTube videos on how to do it, realize there's one thing I didn't realize I needed, but I did need, go back to Mitre 10, run a couple of errands on the way home, and then realize it's now dark, I can't get the job done in the first place. And so I'll do it next year. That's having put the stuff in a nice safe place in the garage for next time, and I find the stuff which I bought last Queen's birthday weekend for the same job a year ago. So it's all about organization, some of which we're going to talk about a little bit more. I've got a message here from Tanya and Tiff saying no sound, which is a bit of a worry. So we'll see if we can just, well, I'm not on mute. We'll see if we can just let me know. Oh, pull earphones out. Give me a message if you can hear me now. I've pulled the earphones out, but I don't know if that's going to make any difference. But we'll just see if we can just try and sort out what the problem is. Oh, Ravina can hear me, and she's the one who's pressing all the buttons. So I'm hoping that give us a thumbs up if you can. Hello, Angela. You're saying hello. You're not saying you can't hear me, so I'm assuming you can. Anyway, I'll start again. Hopefully, Taya and Tiff, you can now hear me. Just asking to pull out of phone, lol. Yep, Carla. Yep, okay. Anyway, so just talking about being organized, and Simon can hear me the whole time. Angela says I have sound. Sorry, Taya and Tiff, it must be something on your computers that you've got to press. Anyway, Mitre 10, interesting to think about that, because we're going to be giving away our prize later, which is a $250 voucher to Mitre 10. We'll tell you who's won that later on in the show. So the experts we talked to on Friday both addressed the theme of the day, which was bathroom considerations, and in particular mirrors and tiles. We spoke to Jodie Rudman from St. Michel, who told us all we need to know about mirrors, the shapes, the sizes, the lighting for the mirrors, and also why it's so important that you've got to get it right, because it's the first room you walk into in the day. It's the first thing you see is your image in the mirror. It's the first thing we use every day, and of course, probably the last thing we use in the day as well. We then talked to Mike Siddle from the Tile Depot, one of the family members who runs Tile Depot, and he basically, we were specifically talking about non-slip tiles or slip factors on tiles, but we quickly learned that Mike knows a heck of a lot about tiling, and lots of people were writing in their questions. And we spent ages talking about various tiles. I learned that you can't clean your outdoor tiles with Jif, which is what I've been trying to do. You have to get it from Mitre 10, a special type of cleaner, which of course I then forgot to buy on Queen's birthday, so my tiles are still dirty. Hi Sadie, hi Emma. Emma's said woo. I don't know if you're trying to be a ghost or just excited to see me. Sadie's saying I'm loving these videos. And oh, Emma, first time watching, nice to see you. And Tiff can now hear me. So to today's theme, luxury renovations. Now, our first guest is from the UK, and she's joining us to talk about luxury bathrooms in particular. Now, Kelly Moucher is a refresh renovation specialist in Surrey. Surrey is an affluent area near London where luxury is pretty much par for the course. Of course, given the time difference between us and the UK, it's hard to get anyone from the UK to stay up until 3 in the morning to talk about roll-top baths and marble flooring. So I gave her a ring earlier in the week, or last week, and we had a bit of a chat then about luxury bathrooms. Hey, Kelly, good to see you. Now, tell me, you're in Surrey. Now, for viewers who aren't familiar with the UK, this is a relatively well-off part of the UK. It's sort of in the home counties on the fringe of London. So, Kelly, how often does the concept of luxury come up in the initial planning stages with your clients, when they might walk in and say, look, we just want you to make this look luxurious?
We do get that quite often. It's a really lovely area where I'm based in Surrey. So I think there are a lot of people who have the money to do what they want, and they know that investing in a bathroom specifically or a kitchen actually is a good investment in the home because it lasts for many years.
Do they know really what they want, or do they just want you to come up with like just make it look nice? Then you have to come up with the colors and the fittings and the styles in order to, and then to wow them.
We have a little bit of both, really. So some people know exactly what they want. They follow fashion, and then other people have no idea what they want, but actually they have still been influenced by fashion a little bit. So yeah, a little bit of both.
So they might come armed with lots of photos and expect you to weave your magic. Now, look, it's a huge topic were we to go through every room in the house and go through the outdoors as well. So you mentioned 2 rooms in particular. Let's talk about the one room where people really want that feeling of indulgence and pampering, and that is, of course, the bathroom. So at a broad brushstroke, how do you bring luxury to the lavatory?
Well, there's many ways, but the bathroom is one area that I wouldn't skimp on. So some of the other areas of the house, you can just add one feature item or something more expensive with other things that are not so expensive. But in the bathroom, there, you know, that's somewhere where you don't want things to go wrong. So it's worth investing a little bit of time and money to get exactly what you want and to really think about it. One way that I get asked about quite a lot is marble. Quite a lot I don't recommend full real marble, the natural product, because it's quite absorbent. So we quite often look at alternatives like porcelain. And Carrara marble specifically is very on trend at the moment, and I get asked for white marble a lot.
It's interesting, the picture we were just looking at, and that is a massive space, isn't it? So are people beginning to invest in the sizes of their bathrooms rather than just trying to sort of squeeze en suites in the corner of, you know, what was the walk-in wardrobe or something? Are people actually investing large parts of their property into bathrooms again?
Yeah, we're finding that when people have extensions, they're thinking about having a luxury bathroom attached to their ensuite quite a lot. And we've actually had a few people knock through bedrooms, so knock through a wall into another bedroom and make that an ensuite, so that they've got the luxury of actually having a lovely private space away from the family.
Yeah, and plenty of space to actually be able to line all your toilet rolls up, as we just saw in that last picture, all perfectly done. Tell me about colour, because particularly if you're dealing with porcelain, are you quite limited in your colours, or are there certain colours which work really well for luxury?
No, you can get away with absolutely any colour you want. We're doing a bright yellow bathroom right now. However, what seems to be the fashion at the moment, what people seem to gravitate to is greys and whites. Yeah, so that's a really key example. So the sort of dark greys on the floor make the room look bigger, and sort of lighter greys and whites on the walls, like the Carrara marble, are sort of bang on trend and what people keep asking for. I mean, marble's brilliant because it is timeless, so it won't ever completely go out of fashion. We have one customer that has 3 bathrooms, and they have a different type of marble in each bathroom. And depending on the fashion at the time, he just sends them to whichever marble bathroom.
What about? I mean, we've talked about that. You know, the major sort of material there and the colours. What about the more hidden features to create an ambience in a bathroom?
Yeah, so lighting, obviously. So we get asked quite a lot for hue lighting. So hue is a smart technology. You can adapt the intensity of the lighting with your mobile phone, or voice activated if you're using completely smart technologies in your home. So we get asked for hue lighting and sort of subtle lighting quite often. So we might put spotlights in, but have hue bulbs in those spotlights, or we might have lighting in a mirror, so it's a lot more subtle. Quite often those are still hue lights, so I think that one in the picture could well be a hue round light there. And we also quite often do pendant lighting in the bathrooms now, which isn't something we've seen for the last 20 years or so.
And you can see that in that picture there as well. What about do people? Are people spending longer in their bathrooms or not? And as a result, do they want, I don't know, the tea's made and the TV and all these other things? I mean, do you have to find weird requests?
I haven't seen a tea's made in quite a few years. Yeah, I think people are seeking ways in which they can relax. So in such a hectic world, a nice long hot bath in a roll top bath where you can have a gin and tonic or a glass of wine or a glass of fruit juice, whatever your tipple is, maybe watch the TV, maybe read a book on your Kindle, or listen to some subtle music. We get asked for TVs, not often, but we do get asked for TVs. We also get asked for sort of ceiling speakers quite a lot now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would make a huge difference, wouldn't it? What about you talked about the endurance of marble, but something which would change quite a lot is, I mean, things like the tapware, surely, and maybe the sort of tiling and those sort of things. Is there an on-trend type of tapware you see?
Yeah, I think so. So there are brands that are quite high end that we get asked for quite often. So Porcelanosa does a really beautiful range. Stark by Hansgrohe, Hansgrohe and Stark. They do some really more unusual, sort of fashionable, more like couture of tap ranges. So really sort of quirky shapes. And then, you have all of your other range. Vola are a very, very high-end, beautiful range, and they're very simple, almost industrial.
What about the spend? Because, I mean, if you're talking about somebody who's now looking at converting one of the 4 bedrooms into an ensuite and putting in the porcelain and putting these high-end tapware and maybe your ceiling speakers and a heating system, etc. I mean, you could be spending a lot of money on a bathroom. What's your sort of range, do you think, that people spend?
So the bathrooms I do in Surrey range from around the £9,000 UK mark, but we've had one as much as £29,000 in the UK. So I don't know how that compares with Australia and New Zealand. I think actually bathroom products are more expensive there anyway because they're imported, but I might be wrong about that.
I think that it sounds like it's great value in the UK because we could basically double that for the New Zealand and Australian dollar. So we're talking about $18,000 to about, what did you say, about $60,000. It doesn't sound extreme, does it? A final thing I want to ask was actually, I just mentioned it, the heating and the ventilation. The heating systems must get quite complex.
No, I wouldn't say complex. We usually recommend fairly simple electric underfloor heating in the bathroom. Works really well with porcelain tiles or luxury vinyl on the floor. We don't really recommend it with wood because the wood expands and contracts. But, there are other options. There are under plinth heaters and then conventional, lovely sort of radiators. You can get some really nice handrails now, or towels, should I say.
Yeah, particularly with a bigger bathroom again, I guess. It's so interesting, isn't it? What's 2 sinks or 1?
Oh, personally, 1. I don't really understand the 2 sinks, but a lot of people do. A lot of people want 2 sinks. Bidets are coming back into fashion. A lot of people are asking for bidets, which is also something that when I started this job, we were just ripping them out, but people have gone back to those.
What about 2 toilets? Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
No, okay.
2 toilets.
You'd have to hide the raising of your eyebrow with your client in that situation. Hey, Kelly, it's really good to have a chat with you. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of insight into what luxury looks like in the bathrooms over in the UK. Great to have a chat. I hope we can do it again soon.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Take care.
So there is Kelly Melcher there, not quite live from Surrey, and yeah, you may have spotted that that was pre-lockdown haircut had been allowed, pre-end of lockdown haircut. Some really cool comments coming in. Thanks very much, Emma. I love our bathroom, but it's missing something. Hope to find out a bidet. There you go. They're on trend again in Surrey near London. And I had a lovely comment here from Tiff, who said, struggling my mailbox and what colour to paint it in. Well, this may work for you, that what we're going to talk about yet, because we're going to move closer to home and move from the inside to the outside, how we can get luxury into our outdoor areas, but, and here's the key, without having to break the bank to do it. And we want to talk to Nicola. And now, Nicola Vague is a landscape architect with over 23 years experience in the landscape industry. We've talked to her once before on the show here. Her experience includes, well, she's part designer and project manager, projects, residential, commercial, resort, large-scale urban planning. She's worked in New Zealand, Middle East, and she now runs the Zones landscaping team in Tauranga. And it's good that hopefully hello, Nicola. Yes, I can see you. Nice to see you. So we're talking about how the hair changes, and I know you've tied that back because you is that because, oh no, that's looking very smart.
Hugh Grays.
Fine. Didn't even notice it. Grey's on trend. We just heard that from Kelly.
Yeah,
So,
very much so.
so first step. So let's say you want to do something to your outdoor area. You want to add that touch of luxury. You haven't got a huge budget. Where should you actually start?
You can never go wrong with starting with a good plan. And so I always recommend that regardless of how big your project is, how big your property is, start with design. And that is really important because a lot of costly mistakes can be made with poor decisions around planning and designing. And so the other good thing about having a plan is you can portion your projects into parts while still keeping an overall vision for your property. So it really does help you focus on individual areas, but with that overall goal in mind.
Because there must be a temptation if you're trying to do things and you are budget conscious to say, oh, look, if we just go as we go and we'll develop it as we go. But if you step back and say, no, hold on, if you get a design drawn up properly in the first place, you are only going to end up saving money.
Oh, definitely, because you end up it's something that you see a lot of people do in planting, because plants are relatively easily accessible. You'll see people go off to the plant centres during the like the long weekend, and they'll come back with a whole lot of different plants, and they may have invested a good couple of $100s in that. And if they're not plants that go with the overall scheme, or they're not the right plants for the place, or there's too many plants, you can actually end up wasting all of that money. But if you have a plan for it, you follow what's on the plan, and you'll get a lot more bang for your buck.
Yeah, it certainly makes it much more. It certainly makes a heck of a lot of logical sense, doesn't it? What are the must-haves to make an outdoor space inviting?
Must-haves. I think whatever you choose, it should have a sense of timelessness. It should be enduring and be something that's inviting. I think, and in that respect, for me, you should focus on the areas that are important for you. So whether it's the entrance to your house, whether it's an outdoor seating area, or whether it's somewhere that you look at from inside your house. So things like that can be, maybe it's a great piece of sculpture or pot, or a particular specimen plant that you look out to. Those are things that can help give that sense of luxury. It helps layer the garden up and create interest.
That's really clever, isn't it? Yeah, that's such a simple idea. If you just find one or two, I mean, obviously, an area is one thing, but even just one feature will actually give you that sense of, and make you just feel a lot comfier in your own space as well. So let's talk about some tricks to save on budget. Okay, I mean, we've started with that idea of having a focus. What other tricks can you think of?
So other tricks. Some other things you can do, say you've got a big bland concrete area and you just don't have the budget to pave it in some beautiful stone or something like that. There are some great things you can do, things like maybe adding an outdoor rug. So maybe it's something, you might not get 10 years out of it, but to add a bit of luxury and interest, you might be able to do that to create some interest with your outdoor space. Other things might be adding texture and colour through paint. So for example, I have a lot of clients who often you'll go and they'll have an old fence which is run down, or an old retaining wall. By painting that up, you can actually get another good 10 years life out of that, and it creates a bit of a backdrop to a space. So you're not having to reinvest in something which is structurally sound, it just doesn't look that good. So, and then you can work from that. So work with the bones of the property and then work forward.
And I guess that can follow to also the other bits and pieces which you're putting in the garden, your tables, your chairs, and that sort of thing. Just give them a freshen up.
Yeah, definitely. So, for example, this property, the little brick wall was already there. So we added, planting and structure to the space. Changed. It was an old, quite rundown lawn area. So we added some paving, and the clients moved furniture from another part of the garden. Now they've got this beautiful outdoor seating area, which is lit at night. And so it has a really lovely feel to it. It's a space that they never used before. Now they use it all the time.
That's clever, isn't it? Because you can almost tell that it was probably once just a bit of a side walk down the side of, or, you know, just a bit of a sort of abandoned lawn. But now, obviously, it's an absolutely beautiful little area to sit in. Lawn's an interesting one, isn't it? Because that'd be a good if you're wanting to save and you've got you've got quite a large area. Lawn is a good idea, is it not?
Yeah, so lawns, and you often see, that's why when you get a new build property, people will put, you know, you typically end up with a lawn, because it is a great way to take up some of that space that would, you know, because your hardscape materials and that are a lot more expensive than a lawn to install. So yeah, definitely, if you've got a large property, lawns are a great way of, you know, eating up some of that budget. So
I want, Nicola, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned something to me called borrowed landscape.
Yes.
Can you explain this?
Sure. So it doesn't really matter where your property is, or whether you've got a sea view like this one, or whether you've got neighbours with an established garden. When you're looking at your property, it's always great to look over the fence or look beyond your fence, because there's often things that you can borrow as a backdrop to your property. So, for example, this property, we borrowed the estuary landscape, and so it really comes in, it creates a right backdrop to this pool area. And so rather than having to recreate a whole lot of landscape features within their own property, we were able to borrow the wider landscape. So that might be, like I say, a tree from next door, or maybe your neighbour's got a really interesting fence. So you can borrow, you know, the view of that, or some hedging or trees. Often, you know, we don't have space to put in large trees anymore, but your neighbours or the wider landscape may include that. So you know, just lift your head and have a look and see what's around you, because there's often stuff outside your property you can bring in.
Here's a question we're getting. I haven't even had time to read this question. Rochelle just put it up, saying we're getting given a hot pool, unsure how to make discreet, but part of the outdoor area and setting that is a nice area around it, not too costly, wooden deck. What would you recommend, or where would you recommend they start? They've been given it by the sounds of it, and they probably don't want to spend much in putting it in.
Yeah. So, hi, Rochelle. So probably some of the key considerations are around, especially if it's an older spa pool, over a deck often isn't a great option. So if you put it over something solid like a concrete pad, which is a bit cheaper to install than a deck, unless you're wanting to go on an upper level, that's a way of helping with sound. To help with screening, there's some great options around decorative screens that, you know, you don't have to go for the top of the range, but that's again another one of those layered things that you can grab somewhere from, like Mitre 10. They have a great range of the outdoor screens, or like Pacific Powder Coat, one of our partners, they produce the aluminium cut screens as well, and they can help give you a little bit of privacy while still, and adding that little feel of luxury through, you know, layering as well.
I had a message from Jane, who's just taken out her pool, turning it now into a sunken garden. That would be, it's just a hole. That would be great to get your teeth into, wouldn't it? Sort of a completely, but anyway, Jane, I'll tell you what, I might try and link you up with Nicola, or with one of the Zones team, to get a bit of advice there. But Nicola, thank you very much for giving us some time to talk about a few ideas of how to, a bit of luxury on a budget for the backyard, and we'll talk to you again very soon. And it's good to know that that you're really busy at the moment as well. A lot of people thinking about their outdoor space at the moment. That is Nicola Vague there from Zones in Tauranga. Great to have a bit of a chat there. Now, the winner of our Mitre 10 voucher is $250, which we've been trying to give away for the last couple of weeks. And we asked you if you could like the page and tell us what your next renovation project was. Then you'd go into the draw, and we've drawn a name out of the hat. And I can tell you, if you decided that you were going to look at insulation for your bedrooms as your next renovation or DIY project, I'd probably get someone else in to do it, then you've won this, and especially if your name is Pete Hollins. So congratulations to Pete. You've won our $250 Mitre 10 voucher. That will be invaluable when it comes to actually buying your insulation for the bedrooms, and no better time to do it than in early June. We'll bring you another competition later this week or next week. We'll let you know what it is at the time. Now, at the end of Tuesday's show last week, I was talking about the new stay-at-home future that many of us across the globe are facing. And some embracing. Now, one of the reasons some are embracing it is they no longer have to face the time-wasting water cooler conversations when they go to work. But what if that's why you go to work? What if it's the social interaction that is the highlight of your working day, but now your office has decided that you're all going to have to work from home? Well, fear not, because the ever-fast moving world of technology has you covered in a simulated manner, at least. Now, companies apparently are opening virtual social spaces for their stay-at-home employees. Now, I don't know if you remember SimCity, or you've got kids who still play SimCity, but basically the little human avatars who wander around the place and they chat to each other with speech bubbles. These are the sort of simulations that are being adopted. And being a virtual world, though, you can do anything with your space. And WeTransfer is a good example of this. You don't have to have a pokey little coffee room in the corner of the office. They've opened a virtual hangout lounge. They've got pool tables. They've got techno music. And the employees, well, you don't have to be a normal sort of looking person with a tie or with smart trousers or whatever. You can be what you like. Make your avatar a robot or a panda bear. These are the creatures which are now wandering around this simulated space. Sounds like a lot of fun, though, but there is an important factor here, and that is that for a company which has a remote workforce, what if you have a new employee? How do you make them feel welcome if they can't actually meet their colleagues? Well, you head to the 3D office cafeteria and you meet virtually. Now, the important meetings all still take place in Zoom and Google Hangouts, but a lot of people are finding this very tiring and very meeting-like. So then they're saying, well, we've got this virtual hangout space, so head to your simulated community area for the casual meetings and the social catch-ups. A wave of clever companies are now building the platforms to provide this service. They charge by the month, and they encourage their clients to think about the possibilities. I mean, why even be indoors? Even if you live in the middle of, if it's the middle of winter, why not be in a sunny outdoor space with butterflies fluttering around to make your employees feel happy? And that is the workplace of the future, complete with butterflies. Let's have another chat on Friday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.